And away we go. Week number 10, Sportsbook Live, Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook.
Love it.
Grand finale, grand prize night. Mike Mutnansky, Eitan Shander. Oh, my goodness. The Eitan fans have come out to support you tonight, buddy. How are you?
This is it? The grand finale? I thought we had one more.
This is it. This is the big giveaway night.
Well, the giveaway, but this is our last show. I thought we had one more next week.
Yeah, we can't. We're not working. Why can't hear me? Try that.
Oh, no.
At least live. Where it's a little mix issue. I can hear you okay, but it's a little bit of mix issue here in the building. Yeah, this is week number 10, 10-week program. This is it.
Yep. Okay. I just thought for some reason that the giveaway was the penultimate, but I was wrong on that.
We had the giveaway here for week number 10 to send people off.
Well, right. But this is the grand prize, like the massive one.
Yeah, this is the big one. We're doing a big giveaway tonight. If you're listening here in the sportsbook right now, go make a $10 sports bet. Go see Mike. Mike, where are you at? Middle of the room, Mike. Where's my guy, Mike, our veteran? Right there. Michael. Someone get Mike. Mace, get Mike. Mike's going to wave his hand. Go show him your $10 sports bet. You qualify for a huge grand prize here tonight of a table for here in the sportsbook, food and beverage included, and a hotel stay. Availability, subject to availability. We have to have that little precursor there. So go make your $10 sports bet, qualify to win, and get yourself involved in what should be a great giveaway here at 7 o'clock tonight in the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. Missed you last week, buddy. You got the Eagles sweatshirt on. We'll get to your Eagles. We'll get to your Cowboys.
Patriots?
We will. The Patriots are not very good. Not very good at all.
They okay. I'll leave it at that.
We'll get to the Patriots. And the Bears. Interesting game here in week number 10. Week 10 starts with a great game. We'll get to Bengals and Ravens here in a second. You said this to start the year when all the underdogs were winning. You said it's going to reverse the mean. Don't worry about it. Here it comes. And our guy Bomber Brad, who will join us here, Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook, the general manager. He has had bad picks last couple of weeks, and he admitted it. He sent me a text today, Eitan. It said, picks have been bad, but boy, the public has been crushing it. Favorites have been on an unbelievable roll, and you said this would happen. I guess you're not surprised that we've seen the favorites now dominate last couple of weeks. And how about road favorites now? 17 games over 500 this year.
Yeah, I don't think. Okay, again, I have I have a deep conspiracy, but I think for the most part, when you look at the surface, I just don't think that you see stuff last long in the NFL. And that's why trends are so tough to follow outside of maybe a quarterback, a head coach trend. And one guy who's gone is just an absolute print fest. And it kills me that the Saints fired Dennis Allen because he was such an easy fade as a favorite. But I think you see this, right, Mutt? And beating the NFL is really, it's not about getting ahead of trends, but it's knowing when a trend's about to stop. It's knowing when the pendulum is about to swing back. And I think that's where you start to see the true smart sharps, if you will, get it. All right, this is a stretch for the dog. This is a stretch for the favorite. And kind of knowing that the climate, if you will, because otherwise you're just getting crushed going back and forth and trying to figure this thing out.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch all these road favorites dominate last week.
Come on.
And it's been great for the public after they got crushed to start the year. But now going forward, I'll be interested to see how people bet. Like I looked at some of the lines here this week, and we'll get some of these games in a second. It does feel like there's some opportunities for some road dogs to finally get barking here a little bit. And that's the bread and butter for guys like you who are doing this all the time, because idiots like me want to bet favorites. We want to bet favorites at home. Road dogs is where it's at. And there's a couple at least on the board that we'll get to that feel like they're going to be playable here in week number 10.
I think the biggest misconception is, the public always loses, or, being on the wrong side, you're on the public side, what have you. Stop. The public wins 50% of the time. Sharp bettors usually win about 55, maybe if they're lucky a little more. They don't lose. They don't bleed out on juice. The difference is that the public is going to bleed out on vig more so than just lose bets. So don't think that you're on the wrong side because you're on a favorite or because you're on a road favorite. Look, 7.5, 3.5, usually bad numbers to take as favorites. However, if you have it in your head, and if your process has told you to get there, then go ahead and do it. Like, nothing should ever be 100% is my point.
14-1 were the favorites last week straight up. I mean, the public absolutely printed. They got crushed here at Mohegan Sun Sportsbook. Bomber will come on and join us and explain why. Road favorites are on their best ATS run in the last 20 years. It has been unbelievable, these road favorites winning. And you mentioned Dennis Allen. I'm with you. Let's pour one out for the Saints coach. He was like, and I think there's a coach who's an automatic bet in the situation this week. Dennis Allen against was, as you said, ATM printing money. I wish they had kept him on the rest of the year, because a lot of people are going to have to sort of chase that, because he was so bad, was so obvious. And Dennis Allen as a favorite was such an easy guy to bet. And so a little bit of a cheat code got pulled away this week with that firing in the NFL.
Look, you would be, and I think I actually have the numbers here. I just have to refresh it. He might be gone now, actually, on this list.
Not a coach, but his numbers were horrific.
Sean, you're talking about
Allen.
Right. I'm saying he may be gone on this page. No. Here he is. So, I mean, as a favorite, he was one of the worst coaches with one of the worst records against the spread. And it was just uncanny how bad he was, again, as a favorite. And let me just give you the exact numbers.
Ready? I wrote it down.
9% of the time.
9, 18, and 1 against the spread as a favorite.
33%.
That is awful. And now he's out of our.
You're never going to win. Now, to be fair, what's wild is, as a dog, he's covering 42% of the time. And there's some certain things, like you could catch him off a bye, you probably have a better chance. But this was like an automatic. I've got one with Dan Quinn that actually works really well this week. But you find systems with head coaches, you're golden. You truly are golden.
When you look at those trends, I'm curious, is the coaching trends or like player trends? Like you see all the time, like Mahomes as a short favorite or dog, unbelievable numbers. Justin Herbert, we'll get to him today. His 17-1 has been the under his last 18 games as quarterback. Which ones do you think are a bigger factor for you in your handicapping? Is it the coach or is it the player when you see those historical trends?
Well, what do you mean by historical? Are we going back to like 1980?
Well, if you see like Dennis Allen trend versus that Justin Herbert trend, right? Which one would you say? Like, is there one? To me, I like the coaches one more than the players, because the coaches control a lot more than the players do. And so, again, John Harbaugh is a guy we'll talk about at some point today. His unders have been ridiculous as an NFL coach. Go back to the 49ers and now the Chargers. He's been an under machine. And so I look at the coaching trends way more than I look at, say, like day of week trends, primetime trend, or player trends. To me, coaching trends are the most important in my handicapping.
I agree. I think if you were to make an argument, it's a quarterback trend. And even still, you'd have to have a pretty large gap or wide discrepancy of trend in order for it just to be a wash. Like, chances are you don't have a quarterback on one team that's got like this amazing ATS record as an underdog, coached by a guy who's got like a Dennis Allen record as a favorite, part of me, and then like a Dennis Allen record as a favorite. Chances are there's not that wide of a gap. So they do usually work. Now, look, you've got Mike Tomlin with a rookie quarterback. I get it. Like, stuff is going to change here or there. And I'm not saying that with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, but it's always the coach for me. And then it's the quarterback. Most of the time, the quarterback takes a second chair unless it's an important factor, like Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, right? Like, if you're talking about impact quarterback, Lamar Jackson is absolutely one of them. Joe Burrow to a lesser extent, but impact guys, I'm going there.
All right, let's talk about this Thursday night game, because a lot of people are here to bet. They want to bet their $10. They want to qualify, and we get some dog Thursday night games stuck with the Jets some of these weeks, the Giants in prime time. This is a legit game here. This is the Bengals at the Ravens divisional game. This was 6.5 24 hours ago. It is now sitting 5.5 Bengals, a total on FanDuel of 52.5. I'll start with my side that I like here, Eitan, and that is certainly going to be the Cincinnati Bengals plus the points here. I liked it at 6.5, 5.5. It's gone under that 6, so it's a little. I don't love it as much, but I played it at 6.5, and I'll tell you why. This Baltimore pass defense is not very good. Ranked DVOA in the 20s, and when you look at Joe Burrow, he's finally getting healthy. No T. Higgins tonight, but he's one of the best passing quarterbacks in the NFL. They're passing more than any team in the NFL in neutral pace situations, #1 pass rate. Like them in Seattle, all they want to do is chuck the ball around. And so they can pass against this Baltimore defense. Divisional game, second time they played. This guy had 5 touchdowns. The first time they played this year, over 350 yards. He's coming off a big game last week. And against this Baltimore team, in a lower scoring game, divisional game, second time they're meeting, I want the points. I want the quarterback who I know can put up yards against this Baltimore defense. Give me Cincinnati plus tonight as my side that I like. I wanted your thoughts on the side in total. I know you build your same game parlays for Odd Shopper, so I'm curious what you gave out today. Is there a FanDuel boost tied to it? Am I on the right side with the Bengals plus the points?
Look, I'm not on a side. I got 53, and it's just too much. It really is too much. 52.5, whatever. The key number here is 51, 52, depending on how you look at it. For me, it's always 51, but with 49 becoming somewhat key, 52 with the field goal. That's maybe 2 in the weeds for people. But regardless, the total for me would be the play under. But I think that factors into your side. I don't think the Ravens comfortably cover a game that's 20-13. But I think the Bengals move the football between the 20s at least. And if anything, we see this Ravens offense, which is expected to do amazing, wonderful things, just slow down a little bit. It's a short week. So let me get this same game parlay up here for you in a sec. But I think the biggest thing for me, Mutt, is you see this a lot on the short week, man. You see what? Mistakes happen, drives stall, interception in the end zone, a holding call, 1st and 10 on the opposing 20, a holding call kills a drive, what have you. Stuff happens on a short week, especially within division. So if I had to choose one of these 6 options, I would go under 52.5. But I like where you're at. I like where your head is at least.
Yeah, I like the under too. If I was playing the total, I'd play the under. Divisional game, second time they're playing. Could certainly see this being, 20-17, somewhere in there. I think the Bengals win the game outright, but I could see it as a lower scoring game.
Outright? Are you going outright?
Game outright? Yeah. I mean, Lamar comes into this game as the MVP favorite. Scary to fade him, but the underdog stats on Joe Burrow. We talk about quarterback stats, underdog stats. He has been spectacular. One of the best underdog quarterbacks, like 17-3. When you include the playoffs, 3 or more points as a dog, he has been 17-3 against the spread. So I do like that tonight. You build these same game parlays on Thursday. What do you want to build tonight?
This is what I have for us tonight. Again, I'm using the no sweat here, right? Like this is the no sweat, meaning I get this back. For those of you who don't know what a no sweat token is, it means you get it right back. So this is what we jumped on tonight. The big thing is let's look at the top one first. This caters right to you. Now, granted, this is not correlating with an underplay. So I'm taking the under. I would look at it as a solo play. And then my no sweat would be something as far as the opposite game script. Joe Burrow should be able, you just laid it out, man. Joe Burrow should be able to move up and down the field in the air. I get it, no T. Higgins, what have you, but you do have a competent quarterback, a ridiculously talented wide receiver. Chase Brown's going to see some looks out here. And Mike Gesicki is like the most heavily bet player across the board here in this game. So Joe Burrow will take the alt, and that will really jumpstart this same game parlay. Chase Brown, I believe he's either returning punts or kicks tonight. Like Chase Brown's going to be doing everything, including running and catching the football. So we'll take a chalk angle there with Chase Brown. But again, I think he's worth it in the same game parlay. And then Mark Andrews, the forgotten man, if you will, right? Zay Flowers, a popular one. Jamar Chase, a popular one. You even look at Mike Gesicki's I don't think Mark Andrews is the most popular tight end in this game. So there's a decent buy low spot. Not great, but decent buy low spot for him. We put it in there. 1361 is your no sweat same game parlay.
Yeah, I like that. You're banking on Joe Burrow having a good offensive night. Chase Brown is always lethal, given everything he does for that team. Totally makes some sense. And you're getting a bump on Andrews because Likely is in there. And this guy, Charlie Kohler, who's come out of nowhere to be a guy they like to throw the football to for Baltimore. Actually like that. That's a good number too, plus 1361 there on Odd Shopper. You give these out every single Thursday. Good way to sort of, for like the no sweat bet I like as well, to take shots like that. So you like the under. I'm going to be on the Bengals. You got a same game parlay. Go to FanDuel. There's all sorts of boosts right there. You've got some free bets as well. And if you're in Connecticut, make sure you're here in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Mohegan Sun. Awesome game tonight. There's been some terrible Thursday night games. We get a good one tonight, and it'll be a fun game to watch. I'm hoping that Burrow goes off. I've used him a bunch in DFS tonight, but I do think the Bengals are a live underdog to win this game outright.
Are you going to physically bet the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game? I mean,
I play them at 6.5, so I've got to sprinkle some money line. Yes.
Okay, but that's my point, right? Like, if the Bengals win outright, will you post on Twitter your ticket, your winning ticket?
No, that to me again, bigger conversation, and I know you have to do it because it's. But I've become to despise the green check mark, like the most annoying thing in sports betting social media. And I get you have to do it. Is look at what I just hit. Look at what I hit. Green check marks. Oh, look at this. Wait, the confetti. Like I hate that. I don't know why. I hate that.
Though? Like
that's annoying. It's incessant. I know there are people that are not posting anything when they're losing, but when they win, here come the green check marks and the money bags. Whee! Emojis, yay! Woo!
If your beef is with people that don't post losses and only make it seem
75% of the industry. 75% of the industry.
That's fair. But if it's the idea of just like patting yourself on the back, are you telling me that you never did that? Like you called the score of a game on a morning show on EEI, and then the next day, Tuesday morning, you're not strutting in like Vince McMahon, being like, where are my props? Give it up. I called that game. I got the score down here. Who gives a shit that I didn't bet it? I want prop. You're telling me that's not you? Because I don't believe you.
It gets to be a lot. It gets to be a lot. But I will not be doing it. I'll send you a text when they do win. Let's take a quick break. 30 seconds away. 30-second break. We'll come back. We'll run the slate for week 2 and check on my Jared Goff odds. Mohegan Sun Sportsbook Live. Don't go anywhere.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.
Look at that. Jared Goff.
The bomber, Brad Bryant. He's wearing a great T-shirt. You'll see it on YouTube here in just a second. I do want to say, we asked Bomber a couple weeks ago, like, what's your secret spot here, Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook? He had a terrible answer. I'll give you a great answer. Was here for Breeders' Cup last week. There's a new restaurant in the food court across from Frank Pepe's Pizza called The Shed. To me, The Shed is now the best restaurant at Mohegan Sun. You sit there at the bar. The French fries are excellent. Service is great. Good drinks, affordable. If you are at Mohegan Sun, you're coming out here to bet the games, taking the family here, you are going to The Shed. And they serve brunch all day, which is always a good thing. I didn't get the brunch. I got the fried shrimp, the fried shrimp platter, which was like almost like deep fried shrimp with a big plate of fries. It was tremendous. So The Shed, new restaurant here. They got a bunch of locations in Connecticut. When you do make it to Mohegan Sun, I want people to get themselves to The Shed. I want to walk the slate here in week number 10, but you pulled the MVP odds up. And I want to remind people, I will remind people of this, Eitan.
Yep.
I told you Jared Goff was an MVP candidate. I told you Jared Goff at 30-1 was a legit MVP candidate. He was 30-1, got bet down to 20-1, back to 30-1. He is now the 4th choice on the board there at FanDuel, tied with Jaden Daniels at 8-1. He went outdoors. He beat the Packers last week. I'm curious what you think about that bet and sort of what his real odds are right now. Not the 8-1, but realistically, what kind of shot does he have to win the MVP? What's the path to Jared Goff winning the MVP and cashing me out at 30-1 on the show?
Man, that is one hell of a ticket. And we talked about just the closing line value that you're going to get for this thing. And you're already there. Like you are already at significant closing line value. Let me ask you this. Take your bias out of this right now. Just meaning the bias is that you have a Jared Goff ticket, right? Who is the MVP right now in the NFL? Let's start there because I always look at the individual award like, okay, give me your flat out MVP. Because for me, Lamar Jackson, maybe only because of how well and I'm not discounting what he or this offense have done, but the odds would reflect that this is a pretty tight race. And if you look at Patrick Mahomes, who nearly went a month without 3 games, but still without throwing an offensive touchdown, and Josh Allen, who just is like the rich man's hollow man, where there's going to be an issue, where there's going to be a relapse, there's going to be a game in which he personally destroys or implodes. Goff doesn't feel like that wide or far off as he is in the betting market right now. I'll give you that.
I think Lamar should be favored. I think Lamar Jackson should be favored. It's a coin flip right now. He should be favored. If he bets a big game tonight in prime time, he's going to be the favorite. So I would say to bet him now before this game, but quite frankly, plus 280 is no great shakes at this point.
That's a great piece of advice. It's not often that I give you this prop, but that is a great piece of advice. And I don't think that you should gloss over that much. If you truly think Lamar Jackson is the MVP and will win the MVP, you better bet him tonight. It would take a 24 to 30 total point game in which Lamar gets absolutely stifled. And even then, I don't necessarily think that his odds drop significantly. If anything, you're just getting ahead of what is more likely the case and just an offensive explosion by him. I think that's a great call.
So I think he should be the favorite. I think Josh Allen, I'm surprised he's plus 250. I think if you look elsewhere, Lamar's probably the favorite, but FanDuel's got Josh Allen. He's been fine, but it's going to be tough for him to win if Mahomes goes 16-1 or 17-0. Like, I would have it Lamar 1 right now. I would have Mahomes number 2, because as the quarterback of a team that wins 15, 16, 17 games, sports writers are dumb. Awards voters are stupid. They see the shiny object. It's a quarterback on a winning team, which is why I liked Goff at 30-1, because his path to winning is Detroit winning 13, 14 games, his quarterback rating being obscene, touchdown to interception ratio being unbelievable, and these other teams, guys faltering in front. So I think 8-1 is still actually a fair price on him. As I look at those 4, I think Jaden Daniels has no shot. I think Jaden Daniels probably set himself a setback here this weekend. Joe Burrow, quite frankly, if you like him, he's a guy you might want to bet, because if he goes off on prime time tonight, he's going to take some money. So I think Goff is in the mix with those 4. It should not be quite as Allen should not be plus 250 and Goff 8-1 is my point.
I agree.
Path is very similar. Win a bunch of games, put up a bunch of stats, and Detroit might be the best team in the NFL.
Look, if you wanted anybody on the outside right now, this is going to sound terrible because I'm here and all, but it's Hurts. Like, that's the only guy that has any remaining value on the board to me right now. Brock Purdy is not going to win jack shit. Sam Darnold is cooked. Joe Burrow is basically just a name that books know they can put up there, and he's taking money. That team is nowhere near good enough to carry an MVP. Jaden Daniels is too young. We know that. Yep. It's not going to be Mahomes. I think Mahomes' fatigue, right or wrong, has set in this year, Mutt.
I agree. I think I put Allen aside. To me, it's Lamar. Wait, hold on. Mahomes can let's say they win 16-1, 17-0. They're going to give it to him by default.
I don't know.
You're probably better off if you like Mahomes to win the MVP. I would go check the odds for the Chiefs to go undefeated, because I think they probably have to go given his numbers right now. They might have to go undefeated or win 16 games. You're probably getting twice that number. It's probably like 8, 9, 10-1 right now for them to go undefeated the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, look, the problem is if Mahomes has, like, the Chiefs don't care about your MVP bet, right? They don't care about you betting the spread. They don't, right? Like, they couldn't care. Maybe you. Do you have an do you have a direct pipeline to Travis Kelce? He caught a lot of heat.
No. Taylor Swift, yes. Travis Kelce, no.
Do you maybe you can help him out? He caught a lot of heat on social media. So here's the thing, and because they're everywhere, you can't get enough of these Kelces, right? Like, are they the most? Who is more oversaturated right now? Is it the Kelces or Snoop?
Oh, the Kelces.
You think so? I see Snoop everywhere.
Apologizing on the ESPN to start. Yes, it's the Kelces. It's the Kelces.
All right.
All right. So we're in agreement that it's probably not Josh Allen, probably not Mahomes, and that Jared Goff should probably be a better price. I told you 30-1 in week 2. Hopefully some people jumped on board. We'll get to our best bets coming up later on the show. Man. How about some week 10 games? Pull up the week 10 board for a second here.
Yep.
Patriots and Bears. Decent matchup of the quarterback, Caleb Williams and Drake May. Pats are a disaster right now. I like the idea of the two guys, the first and third pick going against each other. I would absolutely lay the 6.5. I would play the Bears at home. The Patriots made no trades whatsoever. An embarrassing trade deadline for them. Have a million wideouts to trade. Didn't do that.
What were they going to do?
Offensive line help didn't do that. Just sat on their hands and did nothing. They stink. The coordinator stinks. I love Drake May, but the Bears and Shane Waldron, they're going to go nuts here this weekend. I would lay the 6.5, and even at 38.5, I like the under in that spot.
So much of this, and let me preface this by I am under the 8.5 win total for Chicago this year. So
and I will preface this by saying I have 12-1 on the Patriots winning the fewest games in the NFL.
That's fair. That's fair. But I have to say, this line still, as bad as New England is, Caleb Williams has yet to do anything consistent outside of a flash here. And look, I mean, Jacksonville and London, please, just please. And aren't they missing a couple of guys? They're banged up on defense. This Bears team is missing a couple of key guys on defense. I would not race to the window and fade New England just because it's New England. Now, here's the thing. How much do you trust the Patriots defense? How much do you trust their pass rush?
I don't at all. The pass rush is okay, but they can't outstop the run. I think DeAndre Swift is in a great spot. DFS this weekend, single game props. I think Swift is going to have a big game against this Pats defense. Hey, that's why I don't trust him. So
7.6 point win covers, right? Like,
yeah, well,
6. I don't love Chicago in this spot, and I feel like this is on paper. This is probably an 8.5 to 9 point spread. Yet still, and look, we're past the point of like, oh, what do they know about New England? Nobody knows anything about New England that you don't already know. I think this is more about Chicago, personally.
You might be right. How about the 49ers off the bye? I didn't make them one of my best bets, but I was very close to saying, I looked at this morning, 49ers 5.5. It's gone out to 6.5 now. It did feel like off the bye, McCaffrey healthy, Bucks on a short week. At 5.5, you could play them outright. You could use them as a teaser piece and just get San Fran plus half a point. It looks too easy. Is it too easy? 49ers off the bye, destroy the Bucks, now looking healthy.
I like the total in this more so than it actually played the total over 50.5. Again, you're below that key number of 51. I do think, as you mentioned, a big part of this is just how healthy San Francisco is getting. You do have some rest off the bye. Kyle Shanahan before the bye versus after the bye, night and day, bad to good. And look, Tampa's defense, they haven't figured this thing out, especially from a pass stopping or defense standpoint. I don't know what changes against the Niners, who are going to have a lot of creativity and pre-motion snap. And I don't think that while they're gone, Evans and Godwin, I don't think that the DNA of Baker Mayfield in this offense have completely evaporated. You're going to have a couple of stupid decisions made by the Bucs coaching staff because they're morons. But I do think this game goes over 50.5, and it's a rare over that I like to play. And I don't want to wait any longer because this thing may close at 51.5, 52, and I've lost that value.
Once you confirm some of those guys are healthy, 100%. I'll give you one more I did not include. I'm curious your thoughts. Jets and Cardinals. I have wanted to fade the Jets now for a month. Now them off an extended bye, playing an overrated Cardinals team. Short favorite. I would lean Jets in this spot to bounce back.
Why? What about the Jets gives – and first off,
you asked the question. I'll give you an answer.
It was the wrong question. I
asked the wrong question. Now you keep talking. Can I answer? Wide receivers finally getting healthy. Mike Williams out gives more guys opportunity to play. Hassan Reddick's finally healthy in this spot. And I think the Cardinals I don't think the Cardinals are very good. So it's part of a Cardinals fade here too. But they've been playing crazy schedule to start the year. I just don't think the New York Jets should be this short a favorite against the Cardinals. What would the line would have been preseason? Well, I mean, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, because you didn't know how bad the Jets really were.
So that's why.
The Arizona Cardinals have played the toughest schedule to date. What about them is overrated?
They get a lot of one-score games. Go back and see how many games they've been in that have been one score and they've sort of gone their way.
Against good teams. Do you devalue that?
Well, the Jets, look at the Jets' schedule. They played some good teams here too. And their schedule's been tough.
A disaster. The Jets are a laughingstock. Aaron Rodgers. And
I don't disagree. On the field. I don't disagree, but I also think Cardinals I think it's a big Breece Hall game. Give them the ball 25 times, get out of the way. So you hate all my bets. I like that. Hopefully you like some of Bomber's bets. Bomber Brad is here. Sportsbook manager, Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. He will join us in 30 seconds here live in the Sportsbook.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races, and it's you for the win. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Who needs skill when you have style? Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Yes. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Something amazing's always happening at Mohegan Sun.
They just showed it there on the video, the restaurant, The Shed. Place is unbelievable. Sportsbook Live, Mohegan Sun, Mutt and Aton, and the man, the myth, the legend, Bomber Brad Bryant, everybody.
Full disclosure on The Shed, when I was asked that question, they were not open yet.
I knew there was a
That's
reason.
your excuse.
Not an excuse, but I do agree with you. It is an outstanding venue. And I had the same thing you did, and it's the best shrimp I've had since I've been on the East Coast, since I left Louisiana.
They fry the shrimp. They put it on a pile of fries. It is freaking awesome. Get that? I don't know what it's called. Fried shrimp platter. That's what you need to get there. What's that?
That was your brunch, or you just have the option of brunch all day?
You can do brunch all day. I chose not to. I like after 11 o'clock, it's a little late for brunch for me. So I was dinner time. I lost a million bets here at Breeders' Cup in Mohegan Sun, and I needed something to fill my stomach. And that certainly helped.
And he had too many cocktails, so he was trying to soak it up with
Allegedly.
the grease.
No, the night before, yes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Saturday, not so as much.
Okay.
Before we talk to Bomber about some of the betting ideas this weekend, I want to remind you, if you are watch this show this year, you want to come out, you want your family to come out here, here's a great opportunity. The Family Fun for All hotel package, geared toward family fun for the entire family. Overnight stay at Mohegan Sun, $50 to spend at Kids Quest, which is the arcade, which is awesome.
Nice.
And $50 food and beverage credit, all part of it. MoheganSun.com. Family Fun for All package. Kids go to the pool. You make your bets all day. There you go. Meanwhile, you should be betting Bombers bets. You texted me today, said, your picks have been terrible. The public is winning. Explain why your picks have been bad. And 14-1 favorites. That must have been a bad week for you guys here at the Sportsbook.
Yeah, well, my picks have just been bad because I've been bad. But the favorites are winning. And when the favorites win, I'm just going to be on the wrong side of it. So public has been picking winners, and it's been going on for 2 or 3 weeks now. So we talked about it because we knew when the season started that the sportsbooks actually did really well, which is normally the reverse. So I think all that's happened is they've just reversed. September and October is just reversed from years past.
But it doesn't last long. Sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I was waiting for you to jump in. It doesn't. That's where I think people get caught up, is they see something, however it gets communicated to them. If they read it in the paper, or if they still read the paper, or if they see it on social, what have you. Oh, this here, trends here, overs here, favorites here. And then what happens? They jump on that. And of course it changes. So staying ahead of the pendulum really separates like 5% of the people betting versus everybody else.
I think there's something else that I've always looked at, especially when you get a call, which doesn't happen here, luckily, but I've been places where they want to know, well, why'd you lose? And they said, well, I read in the paper that the favorites went 8-7. I said, yeah, but the teams that everybody bet went 5-0. Detroit, the Ravens. There's always those 4, 5, 6 teams that people play every week. And that's one of the reasons the favorite's been winning lately or the public's been winning lately, is because of those teams.
All right, your top 5 from a bookmaker standpoint. And this is not a fan standpoint. This is not a power ranking. This is you, Bomber Brad, the bookmaker, making lines, looking at teams you want to bet. Last week, you had no Minnesota Vikings, which to me was sort of embarrassing. They went out and beat the Colts. Able to cover that number there. Should have been 6 or 7. It was 5. You played the Vikings. You won. Your top 5 right now, week 10, from a bookmaker's perspective.
I think from a bookmaker's perspective, it has to be Detroit. I mean, just the way they're playing over KC. The way they're playing, the way the public's betting them, I think they have to be number 1. I still like Baltimore, but they're just too inconsistent for me. But I still have them number 2. I have Kansas City number 3. San Francisco, I'm keeping them in the top 5 at number 4, with McCaffrey being back and being healthy. And I'm throwing Minnesota in as number 5, but that could actually be Minnesota or Green Bay or Philadelphia or maybe 2 or 3 more teams.
Aton, of those 5 teams right now, who are you most confident will represent their conference in the Super Bowl? If you had to forget the odds for a second, Detroit, San Fran, and Minnesota on the NFC side, Baltimore, Kansas City on the AFC side. You had to bet your house. One of those 5 teams represents their conference in the Super Bowl. Who would it be? I think you're muted on your end, bud.
Sorry, I was listening to the Bomber talk here. I don't want anything to disrupt the line of thinking. The easy answer for me is the AFC, because the only thing you can really point to with Kansas City is that their offense isn't putting up 40 points a game like everybody expects, because you have Mahomes and Kelsey and all this other stuff. They're not a bad football team. They've got an incredible defense. They stop the run. Steve Spagnuolo is the defensive coordinator of the year, and I know other people are doing great stuff, Brian Flores, what have you, but my God, they are winning because of their defense, and they have yet to lose a football game. Coaching, when things really matter, that's the playoffs. That's January, February. That's Mahomes. That's Andy Reid. Again, Baltimore is as equipped as you can be to slow this team down, except on defense. It's Kansas City in the AFC. I don't want to say Detroit. I don't, but I don't know if I can make, outside of the fact of, well, it's the top team and, the number one team's going to go down, some stupid trend that I can find in the playoffs. I don't think that I have a credible argument as to why or how San Fran, Minnesota, even Philly, maybe a healthy Green Bay, I don't think, can beat Detroit in the playoffs.
I just think you're on the right side with your first answer. The AFC is less competitive. There are more options for you in the NFC, right? I mean, 3 of the 5 here are from the NFC. You didn't mention Philadelphia. You mentioned them as a potential candidate with Jalen Hurts as MVP. They're always waiting in the wings. I just feel like right now it's deeper water in the NFC side. I'd be much more comfortable back in Kansas City 1, Baltimore 2. I don't even know who would be my third team in the AFC, because I've not seen enough from Buffalo this year. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but it seems much more competitive on the NFC this year, at least in my mind. Bomber, you talk every week. You give us some sage advice. You're not someone that just tells you to go out and bet a bunch of games. You said early in the year not to bet early, and if people listen to you, some people mocked you. Some people here mocked the Bomber when he said don't bet early.
There he is.
Right
yep,
here.
he did.
A lot of these people did. My friend Jeff D. Lowe certainly did. If they waited early and been betting recently, favorites and the public have been crushing. So week 10. What advice do you have for the people as we have now the back half of the NFL season and a lot more football to go?
So one of the things that I think about is when you want to play, you want to play every day, right? So now we have football every day of the week. You don't have to play every day of the week. So just because there's 2 MAC games on a Tuesday night, you don't have to play that game. But I think the advice for me is find what you do well. Every league is not going to be your forte. You may do better in college than you do NFL, so you should concentrate on college. You may do better in the Big 10, 12, whatever they are now, versus the Southeast Conference. Concentrate on what you do well, and that's where I would spend the majority of my time. Don't spend time on something that just because you want action on a Tuesday night.
Well, I hate to give him credit, but I mean, Eitan, he goes on Twitter every day and says how good he is at WNBA. Like, look at a million units of that. I feel like that's something that you've specialized in. Like, if my specialization is horse racing, which this weekend it was not, I feel like you've decided to go all in on the WNBA in your betting.
Yeah, but to be fair, and this is just a shameless plug for my site, we're beating the market. I mean, we're essentially just picking off incorrect prices at books that have either adjusted, miscalculated, or slow. And Brad knows this, Bomber knows this, the smaller the attention on a sport, the greater the chances that you'll find discrepancies and holes to attack in the market. Brad's not making that mistake up at Mohegan in the NFL, but, maybe at 3:30 in the morning, if I jump in there and Brad's safe at home asleep, the guy that's there running the show may not know as much about the WNBA at 3:30 in the morning. I kid, of course, because it's impossible to do that on a regular, but that's all I was doing, Mutt, is I was finding an area to attack on my site, and it was super profitable. And I was just explaining, like, you don't need to spend hours upon hours of research. You can still profit the other way.
One guy we've talked about, Bomber, is Alan Boston. You saw a lot in Vegas. I swear he was here opening week betting at your sportsbook. Alan Boston, a legendary college basketball bettor. He has invested his life in college basketball, and that's basically all he bets now because that's his strength.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do. It's, I know me and you love to run up to Saratoga, right?
Sure
I love Saratoga. But it's hard to cash tickets at Saratoga. So why would I go up there betting $200 or $300 a race when I know that I do better at Woodbine or one of these other tracks? Just concentrate on what you do best, and you'll have a way more success. You'll have way more fun, which, that's what it's all about.
All right, you have any picks for us this week? Now, you said the picks have not been good. We'll have some picks you can bet or book here coming up. But I feel like you're due here. It's week number 10. You specialize in college football, but I think you have one college, one NFL play for us.
Yeah, lately I hadn't specialized in anything but losing. But I'll take Georgia Tech plus 11 over Miami, Florida this week. So
love it.
I like Georgia Tech. And then over into the NFL, I'm actually going to take Denver plus 8. A little surprised at the way they played last week, but I'm going to take Denver plus 8 this week in the NFL.
Down to
7.5.
Absolutely.
Already.
Two-leg parlay there, plus 272. Never picks favorites, only underdogs here. The Bomber, plus 10.5 on Georgia Tech, plus 7.5 on the Denver Broncos. Chris Diamond, who filled in for you one week, the Diamond in the Rough underdog of the week. He's 2-0 on the show with this pick. He likes Nevada, plus 24.5, playing Boise State. And his big idea here is Boise State just got named top 12 in the college football playoff. A little bit of a letdown. Nevada, 24.5. Would you bet that or book that with your guy, Chris Diamond?
He's looking at me like he's my little kid, and I'm about to take a toy away from him. So I'm going to bet it. I'm going to bet it. I'm actually going to double up just to make him happy. I'm just all in.
Is anybody putting a quarter unit on the money line for them to win at 12-1?
I think we have to, don't we?
A 24.5 point road dog against the top 15 team. Why the hell not? Let's do it.
All right, we'll take our final break, come back, some best bets, maybe some story time with Bomber Brad. Here we are at Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook. It is week 10 of Sportsbook Live.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Back of House is back with a new season and new episodes. Go behind the scenes to watch and win at backofhouse.tv.
Final couple of minutes here, Sportsbook Live at Mohegan Sun in the FanDuel Sportsbook. There's some big events coming up here at Mohegan Sun, Bomber. What are you just pointing at there? What are you all excited about?
No, that was my boss, one of my two bosses. So
there you go.
I'm going to do a shout out. Best boss ever.
Look at that.
Best boss ever.
Who's that?
Kevin Lowry.
Kevin. Congratulations, Kevin Lowry. You had a Mets event in here a couple Fridays ago, and they're doing something similar in Novell. I don't know if we have that slide, Eitan, that I sent you, but at Novell. They're excellent. The Reverse the Curse 20th anniversary event, Novell Restaurant. Jamie Parker, who does amazing charitable events, former TV anchor in Boston, hosting a Q&A with Manny Ramirez, Johnny Damon, and a bunch more. It is this Saturday, 8 to 9 o'clock. You see Manny, Johnny Damon, Mike Timlin, Alan Embry, Keith Folk. It's over at Novell Restaurant. I've not been in there. Tickets available on Ticketmaster. I've been told there's a couple of tickets left. I know based on the Mets event here that you saw with Bob Easler hosted, you told me there were Mets fans that were crying. They were so happy about that event.
So it was pretty special because it was, a little older guy like me, but they grew up on these Mets, and they were happy to come in. They got to meet them. They got stuff signed by them. So it was really emotional for these guys. So I'd be the same way if I got to meet some of the Texas Rangers of the old days.
Go to Ticketmaster, search Reverse the Curse this Saturday at Novell. Tickets available. They include a drink package as well. Log on online. Great weekend to do it. Saturday night, 8 to 9 p.m. here at Mohegan Sun. Here in the Sportsbook, a couple events coming up. UFC on the 16th at 3:06. Up to 3:06 already?
3:09.
3:09.
Yeah, 3:09.
Reservations on the website, taking those already for that event?
Yeah, filling up fast too. So giving a lot of some prizes away that night. So you want to be here. That's a big night. John Jones is back. So you want to be here early for that one.
And then the other thing I saw today was getting some pub in the sports betting world is this. I don't know, Eitan, if you're into this, but this Mike Tyson, Jake Paul
yeah,
fight.
Gotta be.
Exhibition fight. You guys are going to have it here in the sports book. Connecticut is one of the states you can bet on it. Last time I checked, there are some states, including Vermont, that are deciding that because it's sort of an exhibition match, you can't bet on it. But you're going to host a party that night here with the fight on the big screens, and you can bet on it. Are you taking reservations for that, or is it too early?
No, reservations are up for that as well. So that's not as popular as the 309 John Jones, but we'll be here and we will have that up.
Before we get to our best bets here and say some thank yous, I got to talk to you about Cowboys and Eagles. And I don't know, Eitan, if this is one of your best bets. I apologize.
It is, but that's fine. Let's
Cowboys.
talk it. Let's talk about it.
Let's start with Bomber on this. This is your team. This is a rare day where you did not wear a Tony Romo jersey. I think you were 70% hit rate wearing that Romo jersey here. Cooper Rush in at quarterback. CeeDee Lamb banged up. Eagles starting to round into form. Let's pull up the FanDuel line here for a second, Eitan, if we can. What do you want to do here? Cowboys and Eagles. Cowboys getting a lot of points and very banged up.
Not watch the game. Bet on something else and watch somebody else.
That tells
Cowboys are, I don't know, they're a mess. I can't watch them. Since my boss just walked in, I think I'm a Commanders fan going forward. So I'll see if I can sink his team. But I'm not interested in the Cowboys. They're a mess. They need to make some changes. I don't know if Jerry's going to do that or not. They're saying now Dak may be out the rest of the year. Just a mess. Total mess.
All right, Eitan, this is one of your plays here. What are the three you want to give out for a best bet? Let's start with the Eagles and the Cowboys here. Part of, I think, a very good Week 10 of the NFL that starts tonight with Ravens and Bengals.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you as far as the game itself tonight. It's a 7-point line. You're not getting any bump with the quarterback play. I think it's moved to 7.5, but it was at 7 when I bet it at FanDuel. Are we going into picks? Like, is this betted at book it right now? Like,
right now, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. I didn't want to jump ahead of anything by any means. You know, we got that beautiful graphic back too. But I think for me, this is simple. You're not getting a QB bump, right? If everybody hated Dak Prescott on that team and he got hurt or got benched and you went to Cooper Rush, maybe there's a little bit of a bump there, right? But that's not the case. Everybody loves Dak on that team. He's hurt. That hurts them as a squad. Kellen Moore. This is a Kellen Moore inside information game. Kellen Moore was passed up. Kellen Moore knows that defense. Kellen Moore knows that personnel. He knows everything. If Nick Sirianni had a brain cell, and I still think he has one left, he would be sitting down with Kellen Moore, as would Vic Fangio, going over everything from what does that left guard do right before he pulls. Every little thing Kellen Moore knows. I'm sorry, but when you have an angle like this and a coordinator coming back who's motivated to shove it, and I don't think he hates or not, I think you have to play the Eagles here at the key number of 7, knowing that the market is already moving towards 7.5.
Bomber, you want to bet that or book that?
No, I'm going to bet that with you. I agree with you. Never been a Kellen Moore big fan of his, but like I said, I think Dallas is just such a mess. And them having to come up and play to cover this spread, I don't see it.
You said, is that your boss over there in the Commander's jersey?
That's him. That's him, Mr. Lowry.
Okay, Mr. Lowry.
Best boss ever.
I apologize, but your team is in a bad spot. I got to play the Steelers here, Eitan. I said automatic bets in the NFL. Mike Tomlin as a dog, automatic bet. He is 41-28-1 against the spread as a road dog with the Steelers. He is the best dog coach in the NFL. It's a good spot for Pittsburgh. Coming off the bye, facing the Commanders team that's faced the 4th easiest schedule in the entire NFL. Jaden Daniels, very good. Probable rookie of the year. I get it. But he's done it against one of the worst schedules in football. Now he catches the number 8 defense DVOA ranked in the league. Washington defense is 28th. I know they're getting healthier, a little bit better, but still in the bottom 4 or 5 in the entire league. They're 11 for 11, Bomber, the Commanders on 4th down this year. They have the 4th best 3rd down conversion rate. I'm looking to fade that in this spot. Mike Tomlin, 26-6 straight up all time against rookie quarterbacks. That and the dog numbers for Tomlin. Woof. Mike Tomlin +3 at Washington. You want to bet that or book that?
I'll bet that with you. I like Mike Tomlin. I know he's got a lot of heat the last couple of years, but overall, I think he's a good coach. I think you're on the right side of that.
What do you
Mike,
got,
you have had some awful, just stink out loud plays on this show. I think that is your best play that you've given out across the board. And I still don't know how this line moved from 2.5 to 3 because of, this is Pittsburgh winning the game outright. This is Pittsburgh winning the first half outright. Everything screams to Pittsburgh, not from a public standpoint, but just from a coaching to who has Washington beat with a winning record? Chicago. That's it. It's the only team they won. And I love Washington.
Won a Hail Mary.
Yeah, very lucky.
Off a Hail Mary. And they come off a division win last week too. Sorry. I love this play, Mike. I wish I could bet this on this show.
We've got some plays to play together this week. Give me your second pick this week.
All right, number 2 for me is going to be Philadelphia. Oh, pardon me, New Orleans, plus 3.5. And we're getting a bump here, right? Here's the thing. It pains me to say it, but we broke down the numbers. This guy was covering as a favorite 33% of the time. Dennis Allen has been booted. This is the perfect coach bump scenario you get. This coach was awful. He was a massive liability as a favorite, and now he's gone. And just like we've seen with bad teams, everybody on this Saints squad is going to go out there from punter to quarterback and prove that they weren't the reason why they lost 7 games in a row. They weren't the reason why this team is absolute dog you know what. I'll take the Saints at plus 3.5 with the hook.
I don't hate it. I'll give you a total this week.
Well,
I mentioned
what does the bookmaker have to say on that?
I'm going to book that because I don't think it was all Dennis Allen. I've said this for a couple of years now. The old guy, Mr. Benson, passed away with the Saints. Mickey Loomis is their GM. The Pelicans are a mess. The Saints are a mess. And I don't think they put anybody in there that's going to change it. And I'll book that all day long.
All right, I want to give you total. Chargers and Titans. I want the under. It was 39. I think we're probably down to 30.5 in most places, but there are some 39s out there. 2 of the slowest teams in the NFL, 2 very good defenses, and the Chargers 7-1 this year to the under. 17-4 Justin Herbert last 21 games to the under. Head coach John Harbaugh 28-14-1 to the under his entire career. They play slow, good defenses. It's scary when you see those 40s. You want to bet over automatically, Bomber, but there's a lot of historical numbers here and pace data that says I want the under. Chargers, Titans. You want to bet that or book that?
No, I'm going to bet it with you. You don't see a lot of numbers like this anymore. To 39, like you said, less than 40. So I'll go with you on this one. I think you're on the right side.
Syracuse money line for you. Explain the college play.
Yeah, man, I'm going to take the Cuse here to win this game. It's a very small margin. It's a 1.5, 2-point line. I don't, even with OT, I don't really think that there's much value to take the points here. Syracuse is the better team than Boston College. They've got the better offense. They've got the better defense. And if you look at Boston College over a stretch of football games, they are getting beat on the field within the box. They don't lose every single game. That's tough to sustain even in college football. I think this is a really good opportunity for Syracuse, again, with the better offense and better defense in this game to win it outright. I'm getting them at plus money on what I believe to be a coin flip. So that's where I'm going on the money line.
Bomber.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I'll have to bet that with you. I'm betting a lot of with you guys.
I like this.
I don't know if that's good or not.
I'll give you a player.
It's not good.
Yeah, you're in trouble. Well, we're in trouble. Player prop, Bryce Young, over 10.5 rushing yards. This is the early game on Sunday. It's in Germany. He had this last week. This is wild. He went over this number last week. He took 2 knees for -3 yards, then lost it. He's gone over it twice this year, 12 times last year. He's a starter for a bad team. The Giants allow the 3rd most opposing rushing yards to quarterbacks in the entire NFL. You get this on 1 carry, -110 in a bunch of spots right now. You hate player props, Bomber. Give me over 10.5 rushing yards for the quarterback of the Panthers, Bryce Young.
Only because you played over, I'll bet that with you. So I'll take it down.
Why are you anti-player props as a bettor or as a bookmaker?
What was that question again? I'm sorry.
Are you anti-player props as a bettor?
I'm not necessarily anti completely. I just think as a bookmaker, you definitely want to be booking those props. But right. I think there is an edge to be had from a player standpoint. I think it comes back to what you said earlier. There's just so much to keep up with. And there's so much difference between, let's say, FanDuel and DraftKings and ESPN Bet or whatever. The line could be, 10 points off somewhere. So I just think there's some value in that.
Before we get out of here, I want to remind people that this place is, to me, the best sports book on the East Coast. And it was funny. There's a Lynn who's here with John. They came to say hello. This is their first time in here. They came to a Derby event before it was the race book here. They came back here for this event, and it's the first time they've seen the sports book part of it. And their reaction is the same reaction everybody has for the first time. Holy shit. This place is unbelievable. Looks like a Vegas sports book. And if people want to get here for an NFL Sunday, Bomber, college football Sunday, you can stand and bet and watch it, but they want to get seats, want to reserve tables, what's the best way to do that the rest of the season?
MoheganSun.com. Go to the sportsbook link, click on reserve a seat, and we have everything up through the end of the year. December 1st, we'll have up January, February, and March Madness, and you'll want to get in early on all of that.
I'm going to invite somebody up here. Can Justin Trudell come up here real quick? We have one guy. We got to say thank you here, Eitan, real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Up here has been amazing. Can you present this? So
I'm going to step out. This is a full screen thing.
Good, but Justin Trudell, producer of the Kirk Minahan Show, has been to all 10 Sportsbook Lives here at Mohegan Sun. There's only 3 of us who can say that. Okay, I'm one, Justin's one, and maybe one other worker here. He's been here every one. Want to present him with the trophy. 10 for 10. Perfect attendance. Justin Trudell. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mohegan Sun, not if they're rude words. If you're gonna be nice and say something nice, yes, but it's gonna be rude and potentially get me in trouble. And the answer is no.
Put him on the mic. Put him on.
He does. Eitan sucks. That's his change. You can say that. That's okay. Not swearing. That's okay. I suck. We all suck. But and Bomber, to Justin, everyone else who's been here, you've gone above and beyond with what you've done here. Giveaways every week. Big grand prize here today. Sage advice you've all help with, including not bet early in the year. Want to thank you for all you've done here for this show. Great job on the show, Bomber.
Appreciate it. Thank everybody for coming out, joining us on YouTube. We really enjoyed doing this, and hopefully do more events like this going forward.
Eitan, great stuff, man. Certainly appreciate the input.
Oh, look, it's happy to be here, man. I learn a lot. You got a smart guy sitting next to you. So
Awesome.
take it. Hopefully you learn stuff too, and that you can apply it in your betting world moving forward.
Probably not. Actually, market-based strategy. That's what we're going to employ going forward. Find the best bets. Hopefully they're on FanDuel Sportsbook.
Don't say that. Bomber's going to he'll ban you from the book if you're line shopping.
I'm a losing bettor. He welcomes me at the book. Anytime he sees me, got a big smile on his face. You can watch the show on YouTube. If you missed any of it here tonight, check out the best bets on the Mohegan Sun YouTube page, Odd Shopper YouTube page as well. Appreciate you watching. Good luck in Week 10, and show the people your shirt, Bomber.
One last time. Good teams win. Great teams cover.
Woo! See you, everybody.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Back of House is back with a new season and new episodes. Go behind the scenes to watch and win at backofhouse.tv.